Good evening, everyone. This is the Model Gaming Show Live. I'm your host, GWFawkes, and let's dig right into this week's stories. This is the week of May 6th, going Sunday from here on out, and just trying to do a weekly recap, give me a full week to go over the week's news. So again, this is for the week of May 6th, 2018. The first thing I want to talk about is new release. The only notable new release is Pillars of Eternity 2. Deadfire, obviously a sequel to the Kickstarted game, and this was Kickstarted as well. And yeah, they get great reviews. It's that Baldur's Gate style RPG, and on OpenCritic when I last checked, it was a 90. These are really dang good games, and they are not for me. I really want to play the first one and this one, but just time constraints. These are deep dives, really, and these are 40+ hour experiences in most cases, and that's just a big time commitment for me right now. But I want to get around to playing these two games. They seem excellent. Few smaller stories just to touch on really quickly. One entertainment story, because I feel like anybody who watches video games likes this show. First off, Rick and Morty has been renewed for 70 episodes, which is fantastic. That puts it at 101 episodes, which means by the end of this run, it'll be considered for syndication, which if Futurama and The Simpsons and King of the Hill and all that is anything to go off of, this will be playing on Comedy Central for years and years and years for 100 episodes. That's pretty incredible. The only thing they didn't really touch on is how these 70 episodes will be parsed out. It could be 5 more seasons, it could be 3 more seasons, it could be 7 more seasons. Nobody really knows. They've been averaging about 10 to, I think it was like 10 to 13 for the first 3 seasons, something like that. So I think they're at 31 right now, so they've averaged 10 plus per year. That seems like they'll go for the going rate, although 7 years seems a lot for that type of show. So maybe they'll start doing 12 and 13, although this could still be over a 7-year period knowing their schedule. Next, just a cool inside industry discussion. GameIndustry.biz had a story that the games director came out and said, I think it's Alfasi, and said that Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game coming out in September, it costs about 75 to 100 million without marketing. Marketing costs generally 35 million, right? There's a metric that game studios use depending on the location. Obviously, San Francisco is an outlier, but it's like $10,000 per hour per person, right? So that's how you get these figures. And they've been doing this in Montreal, so they get tax breaks. But they've had a crew of 500 people working on this for a while now, and it's pretty incredible. So 75 to 100 million is actually less than a lot of these big budget games that are coming out in 2018 and 17 and beyond. So 75 to 100 million, I know that seems ridiculous, and that's because it is. It's a truly absurd number for what, I don't want to say what you're getting, but I would be very interested to see what the first 2 games in the series cost, because really I would love to do a comparison of the first game and this last game and just say the first game cost 50 million plus 25 million to market, right? So you're talking about almost double the amount of cost. And for what though? What's really changed? Graphics still look pretty damn good, but similar enough from the first game. They released that definitive version of the first game, and it looks incredible. I played that on PC. Looks great. So it's kind of like how movies are going too. It's like there's no $40 million movies anymore. It's like 10 million or under or 100 million or over. There's no these mid-tier movies. It's crazy. So nobody seems to know why they're going up so much. Graphical fidelity. The Wii has proven that. The Switch has proven that. Gamers just want choice. Gamers just want option. I think Steam is a big enough, great example of that, because tons of indies. Switch is popular because of all the indies that are selling well on it. That's the type of experiences gamers want. Yeah, you can have these big budget God of War games and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but That's like backed by Sony. God of War is backed specifically by Sony for the console. This is a publisher. This is like just a separate studio. This isn't Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo making this. This is a separate entity. So it's a little bit odd how big budgets have gotten. That's for a separate talk when I actually have some more numbers in front of me. But just thought it was a cool insider get that he was very honest and open about that. Next little story, it's just cool. Microsoft is finally allowing game gifting, and that's ahead of Sony and Nintendo. Now on Steam and PC generally, you've been able to gift games to someone, as in you go onto your account, you buy a game for someone else and it goes to their account. You've been able to do that for years now, but it's always been a slow go for gaming consoles, and Microsoft just kind of like announced it nonchalantly and just went, hey, we're doing this, like, have fun. So yeah, you just go in to purchase a game and you just go to get game and gift to someone else and you type in their username and that's it. It's pretty cool. Just a fun little thing. I hope Sony and Nintendo bring that sooner rather than later. I mean, it's a feature that a lot of people want. Now, a lot of my friends don't play many games, but I've got a couple friends right now that are interested in God of War. It was just their birthdays, and that would be a cool gift for me to do. Like, hey, let me go on to Sony and purchase them a game without just going to GameStop and like handed it to them, right? It would be a cool thing if they just turn on their PS4 and go like, GW gifted a game to you. I think that's always a cool thing. That's it for the little mini stories. Getting into tonight's headlining topic, and that is my opinion on Nintendo's online service, and I think it stinks. Granted, I did a talk recently about this, about how the Virtual Console is most likely dead and why it doesn't matter. And I still stand by that. And you can see that now it is dead in the form that we know it, right? There's not going to be something called a Virtual Console, right? Who cares? It doesn't matter. But with what they've detailed so far, it's so stupid and disappointing. It's just like, it's the ultimate Nintendo never learning thing where, the things it has going for it, let's be positive, okay? It's $20 a year. Dirt cheap. It's a third basically less than the other two competitors. The only problem with that is you've had this for free now it will be a year and a half by the time it gets implemented. So are all those games prior going to be now locked behind this $20 a year? That's a little iffy. But hey, it's $3.99 a month, $7.99 for 3 months, $20 a year, or $35.99 a year for Family Pass, which includes up to 8 users, which is actually pretty cool. If you're a parent, right, and you bought 2 Switches, but it's under one account, that's cool. It's like $35. You get a deal on that, which is cool. That you're saving money, and I really like that aspect of it. Another thing that I like about it is that they seemingly have online capabilities in some fashion for the games that they're releasing. And I think that's cool. A lot of these, these are NES games. These are minimum 20 plus years old. Okay. And so you're talking about games that are 20 to 30 years old, and they're giving some sort of online functionality to them, depending on the game. Obviously, when I get into the lineup, I'll discuss kind of each of the ways that you could do an online mode, but a couple of them are pretty cool. I want to get into like the main negative, or excuse me, before that, you have access to a smartphone app now, which is ridiculous. They still don't have chat. They're still not doing headsets. This is crazy at this point to me. It's insanity, because Microsoft has been doing this since 2002, 2003. What are we in 2018? Just call it 15 years now. Microsoft has had an online service that you've had a friggin' headset with, and you could communicate online and party up and stuff. It's crazy how behind Nintendo is, and kind of really enlightens us on the direction they're going with this. It's just going to be bare bones, super bare bones, and that's why it's costing only $20. So a few negatives. That the main one I want to talk about is save data. You will be able to back up, okay, your saves on the cloud or in the cloud, right? Which has been a huge point of contention for the system, is that there's no way to save your any game saves off the system, which is crazy because it could break and you lose that save. You could have it repaired and they wipe it. You could have a little glitch and it wipes it. There's an SD card. You can put an SD in, and I think they're worried that it's going to be cracked. It's already been cracked. So for them to paywall this is very frustrating, to say the least. I'm a big believer that that game consoles are a luxury item, and if you're paying for them, you have excess money to pay for them. So I don't get, people are bitching and complaining that, they got to pay for the save data, and I get it. $20 a year, okay, is not a big deal. You want to do it per month, like break that down, $20 per month, $2 friggin' a month, less than that, $1.75 a month, if you just reason it by like that. So I get that they're upset that there's no way to do that, but this is a cloud service. The only one that allows that for free is Microsoft. You don't have to have gold with that to get their cloud backups, which is super cool. But at the same time, it's $1.75. If they do not release another way to back up your saves, and this is the only way, then that's messed up. But again, it's $20 a year. It's not a big deal, guys. Okay, it's really not. I think people are it's the same vocal minority that it's just blowing everything out of proportion. I get that. It's lame. I understand that. It's $20 for a year. Get over it, okay? Let's go over the launch lineup. Ice Climber, Legend of Zelda, Balloon Fight, Soccer, Tennis, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, Super Mario Brothers 3, Donkey Kong. I can name one game off that list that I would play, Super Mario Brothers 3. I had it for the Wii U. Not really going to play it again. I've played that game a million times. I'm old. Got it, okay? Now, for people wanting to check things out, think of it this way. These are all games. I would say Super Mario Brothers is another one, right? Cool. It's great to go back and play that. Same with Mario. Ice Climber, Balloon Fight, Soccer, Tennis, Mario Brothers. I would even put Super Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, and Donkey Kong. That's 8 out of the 10 games. I would go, those are our experiences. You mess around with those for an hour, and you're done. That is for me. That's it. So, your $20 for this initial launch lineup, which I'm hoping, is not it for the end of the year, right? Is pretty weak. Okay. Super Mario Brothers 3 that's a damn good game, really. A lot of the best mechanics come from that game, and it's ingenious. It's a friggin' really good game. Same with Legend of Zelda. Those are both excellent games. Those are worth your month. Are they worth $10 a month or $10 each? Kind of to get your, I don't know. I've played all these games a million times. I've played those games. I have not played Ice Climber. I have not played Balloon Fight. I have not played Soccer or Tennis or Dr. Mario, really. I've played half of them, basically. I have no interest in playing Soccer or Tennis or Ice Climber or any of that crap because they're 30-year-old NES games, and they're, by today's standards, not good games. I think objectively at the time you could say they were good games and cool experiences, but God of War just got released. Come on. You can say that's a bad comparison. It's a game versus game, right? Different experiences, sure. But why do I care about any of those games that are released? They released them on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console and the Wii U Virtual Console. So many of Nintendo fans have already played these games and owned these games. Now you're renting these games, which essentially you're doing with Microsoft or Sony as well with their PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold. You're just renting them as long as you have the service, fine. But, the question is raised, why, I want to own these games. And I want to shout out Lauren Sontag from Funhouse, bringing up a very good point, who I think has the most apt point that I've heard on why Nintendo is trickling this out. Okay, so these are 20 or 10 games that are coming out. There's going to be 10 more. So the next 10 could all be the best of NES games, Mega Man 2 and 3. We could see that. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but there's going to be 10 more coming, okay? These are just the first 10 announced. And what Lawrence was talking about is that the reason Nintendo's going so slow to this is they don't want to discourage other companies from continuing to push their smaller games onto the system, right? So think about it like this, and I'm aping him, but I get this point of view, but I still don't think this is it. I think this is still Nintendo being friggin' lazy and not listening to their fans, right? If it's me and I'm Nintendo, I wouldn't do just the NES, right? I would release 5 NES, 5 SNES, 5 N64, 5 GameCube, right? You give a sampler of, you know, Zelda, Super Mario, Mario 3, Donkey Kong, Dr. Mario for the NES. And then, you know, Super Nintendo, you could do like a Link to the Past. What you give variety, right? And as far as discouraging other companies from putting on the system, I think that's very smart. I think that Nintendo does not want to flood the market with all of their stuff simply because their back catalog is incredible, and a lot of new games can't even compete with that because people on the Switch will just say, oh, Mario, oh, new Nintendo or old Nintendo games that I love. Like, they'll buy that over buying new experiences. So I actually think that that's a pretty big factor, is that Nintendo's easing into this to still give consumers a chance, or companies a chance to push their games and promote their games. The problem with that theory is the way that the store is laid out is awful. It's just tracking down. It's new releases, okay? It doesn't highlight any games by any studios. It doesn't do anything like that. So that's my only problem with that argument, is that it's just as it releases, right? So it's yes, and who knows? There's so many games released each week for the Switch that it's hard to even gauge what's going on with that, okay? So I really do think that this lineup, Nintendo's doing it. I misspoke. I didn't mean to be out of laziness. It's not out of laziness by Nintendo. It's more out of, let's just ease into this to see how this works and see how people react. I think people already have reacted very negatively overall to the aspects of the system that have been detailed so far. There could be an entire Nintendo Direct on this going, hey, we've heard you guys, you know, there's still plenty of time. It's September, right? We've heard your guys' complaints. We're fixing it. We're going to add this and this. My biggest issue with the Virtual Console in its original iteration is that they really just trickled games out, and sometimes it was games that people clearly didn't give a crap about. They added no functionality to them at all. And I'll get into online still in just a second. And really, there was such an opportunity for great emulation. Dolphin emulator has been around forever, okay? Same with an emulator for N64, same with SNES. Emulators have been around for a long time. And what Sega is doing with their, and Capcom with their games, and Sega with their remasters and releasing old games, is they're adding in rewind abilities, save anywhere abilities, online play. They're giving you many more features that go with these old games, and that's what makes them so good, right? Nintendo is offering some sort of online play. So in terms of all the Mario games and Donkey Kong, it's like, oh yeah, you can pass the controller over to a friend and let them try. AKA you can be online and then like watch, you can interplay levels with each other. Cool. I'm guessing in Balloon Fight, Soccer, Tennis, and Dr. Mario, you'll be able to directly play against people, which is cool. But again, people are going to play those for an hour and be done with them. So I'll give Nintendo credit. It's a good way to ease into it. It's a good first step, and it's a good way to not scare anybody. But really, what they've detailed, God, it's not worth $20, man. And that's what's sad, is I know I said it's $175. I would pay it. If I played the Switch a lot, I own one. I've played Mario and I've played Zelda the most, okay? We'll just call it that I played those two games the most, and those are what matter to me. I'm not worried about losing my saves on those. I played each of those 60 hours, okay? I'm pretty good with those. If my saves got wiped and I had to start over, I don't know if I'd really be that upset, okay? If this was Mario Kart and I had unlocked everything, I'd be super pissed. But for $20, I honestly don't think it's worth it. Even at $20, that's what's crazy. Microsoft and Sony, theirs cost $60, and you can regularly get them for about $45 on sales on Amazon, wherever, okay? But call it $60. they offer a ton of value. Every month for Microsoft, you're getting 3 games that I'm just averaging because the way the tiers work, right? It's like April, just call it May 1st to 15th, the 16th to 30th, right? And one game is the whole month, and then you get 2 new ones or whatever. So you get like an Xbox 360 game that's backwards compatible, and you get a current game. And then you get another current game for the whole month, okay? That in itself is an incredible value per month. So if you break that down per month, call that $60, right? So that's $5 a month where you get 3 free games per month. I'd say that's a friggin' good deal on top of, online play and special promotions. Like I've actually purchased quite a few games for the Xbox Games with Gold Pass when they do discounted games every month. They have really good deals on there. So I've saved a ton of money just by having that. Yes, I'm paying $45, $50, $60 a year for that, but it's worth that value. And PlayStation Plus, from what I've seen the games, is definitely worth that value, especially this console generation when their games lineup is just insane, right? So what does Nintendo need to do to up this, to make it worth it, right? They need to just add more games, right? Or they need to separate itself to be special, right? What is this going to do for me in Splatoon 2 that it's not already doing for free? That next big multiplayer game, Mario Tennis Aces, okay? That's going to come out in July, and you're going to get 2 free months of that online, right? And then September's going to hit. How are they going to make it so they go, hey, you don't have to, but if you get that $20, you're going to get this, this, and this. You got to incentivize people, okay, to buy your online pass. Now you can see kind of their strategy, right? They dropped Smash, and it certainly appears that Smash is going to be releasing, I would say, within 2 weeks of the online dropping. That's my prediction. Within 2 weeks. Maybe a month, but I really think it's going to be within 2 weeks. So that's going to be it. They're going to drop the online service, and then Smash is coming out 2 weeks later. You got to play Smash online. You got to get this service because it's going to be awesome. There's going to be no lag. We're going to have dedicated servers. Yada yada yada. You got to incentivize people to buy this, and even at $20, this isn't a value. It's online. It's free now. It's free now. And now you're making me pay $20 for it. $20 ain't worth those games. I don't care if they put the best of NES games on there. It's still not worth it. The Ice Climber and Balloon Fight and Soccer and Tennis, those are 1-cent games, man. Like their value is not $5. It's not $1. They're probably not even 50 cents. Those are games that have limited appeal, and that's being generous. So, I know I've been crapping on Nintendo a lot, okay? And it's coming from a place of love. They, out of all the other companies, really repeat history the most. And it's very frustrating. They got a new leader in, okay? They got a new president in. And he's going mobile straight out the gate. And despite how I feel about that, I don't really play any of those mobile games. I think that's at least a step in the right direction, man. He's a very young president, and I think he knows what he's doing. And I think that once this gets going, they'll be able to incentivize and add value to it. And I really think that all Nintendo has to do for the Switch at this point, seriously, all they have to do is just start releasing remasters of all the stuff that came out on Wii U. They've already done it with Mario Kart and Tropical Freeze, great games. And I get there's some backlash on the $60 for Tropical Freeze. I get that. They need to make their money back. That's it. And truthfully, that friggin' game is great. It is worth $60, so you should be paying $60. I paid $60 for it when I bought it originally, back for the Wii U. Fantastic game. But yeah, they need to remaster everything that was on the Wii U, release it for the Wii U. They need to go back to the Wii. They need to put stuff there. They need to do what Sega is doing to a limited extent, and just release. You can release a Zelda package You know what I mean? You could release Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds, all the Game Boy games. There's so many of them, right? You could even section off those. But imagine like Steam does, right? Steam will go like Star Wars bundle, everything, and discount it, or Star Wars bundle for $100 you get everything. Those things would sell tremendously. I don't know what Nintendo's gonna do. I don't know how sure they are of online still, and that's a little frustrating. So got a little off topic, but that rant over, done. I really hope that it launches in September. Smash pushes it forward and incentivizes people to get it, and then they can go about seeing really what people want and releasing those NES, SNES games and those GameCube games and those N64 games. I really think that would help, even if it's 5 at a time. You know what I mean? It's proven that emulators worked for all these games, continuing. Hell, people are playing Breath of the Wild on PC. So it ain't anything new, okay? They're on the right track. They just need to fast track it, okay? A new generation of, it's rumored that a new generation is coming around, okay? PS5 is rumored, okay? It's not cyclical like it was anymore, but Nintendo's stuck in that weird middle position again, okay? But, what do I know? They're going to pass Microsoft this year, so what the hell do I know, right? But I just don't want it to turn in to a fad like the Wii was, where they had like a great first 3 years and then it was like a huge drop off, right? Because they just said, screw it, and then they didn't really give casual people and fans what they wanted. So rant over, okay? I still think Nintendo's got the goods. I'm really here for the first party stuff. So even the remasters I'm not really interested in. I've already beat those games for the other systems because despite what I say, I'm still a Nintendo fanboy, still a diehard Nintendo guy, and will always buy their systems and play their first party games. But yeah, it's hopeful. At least when Smash comes out and by the end of the year, we'll have a lot more information. But right now it stinks. There's very little value to it, and the save data thing is like going to be a break for a lot of people. So I'm GWFawkes. Thank you for watching. This is Model Gaming. This is the Model Gaming Show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. We recap the week. And thank you for joining. If you're catching this live, I really appreciate it. If you're watching on the archive, that's great too. You can find me here every Sunday through Wednesday, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/Model Gaming Show. You can find me, GWFawkes, F-A-W-K-E-S, on Instagram and Twitter. And I really appreciate you guys watching, and have a wonderful night.